Let's look at the fundamentals of music theory, the building blocks that every beginner needs to know. But then, what is music theory? Music theory is simply the systematic study of the principle and elements of music. Things like pitch, rhythm, harmony, melody, forms, notation, and how they all work together in composition and performance. By the end of the video, now, as a beginner, you need to understand that music uses 7 letters, which are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. After G, the sequence repeats again and again, up and down the keyboard or the voice range. On the piano, this is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So this is it. It's repeated again. Okay? It's repeated again and so on like that. Either you move to the right hand side or to the left hand side. We also use accidentals like sharp. This is the sign here. So for example, if I pick the key of F, and if you check by your right hand side, you're going to see a black key. So once you just move a half step, that is F sharp. Then the second sign we also use is the flat sign. So for example, if I have B here and I just go back a half step to this black key here, that is B flat. Then the third one you must take note is the natural sign. So the natural sign, one of the functions is that it cancels out any sharp or flat, which means it restores the key back to its original pitch. As you follow this video, here is a quick exercise for you. From the middle C, name all the white keys going up and then try naming all the black keys first with sharp and then with flat. Now, let's talk about enharmonic equivalence. 2 different names can represent the same pitch or equal tempered instrument. Example, C sharp and D flat sound exactly the same, but they are spelled differently, depending on the context, scale construction, or voice leading. Now, I made mention of tempered instruments. Don't misquote me. I don't mean human behavior temperament. It is the tuning system that makes small adjustment to pure musical interval like the fifth, so that the instrument can play in all keys with acceptable notation. Now let's take example, the D major scale, which involve D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D. So also you can write the scale of D major as D, E, instead of F sharp, you can say G flat, G, A, B. Remember, we have C sharp there, we can say D flat and D. What do you notice that is different is that you have repeated letters on the scale. So the first one is correct, the second one is wrong. The reason is that you have repeated letter in the scale. Both examples will sound the same, but the second is incorrect. Why? Because a major scale must use every letter once. That is why F sharp and C sharp are correct in the scale of D major. Now, let us look at how music is written. So there are some signs you need to get yourself used to. The first one is the staff, which has 5 lines and 4 spaces. Each line or space represents a pitch with a letter name. The next, ledger line, as small lines above or below the staff to extend the range. The next, bar line. Bar lines separate measure or music according to the time signature. Double bar line shows a new section or a new key or time signature. Dotted bar line shows subdivided complex meter for easier reading. Bold double bar line shows the conclusion of a piece of music. And also we have the brace, which connects 2 or more lines of music played by one performer, like the piano grand staff. Also we have the bracket, which connects staffs of different instruments or voice, like two trumpets or choir parts. Clefs tells us which pitches the line and spaces represent. The first clef you are going to look at is the treble clef, which is also called the G clef. So if we have the staff, which is 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 spaces. If I want to draw the G clef or the treble clef, I will start from the second line and make that coily shape, and then I will draw it up to down. Automatically, the first line of the treble staff now becomes E, the second line becomes G, the third line becomes B, the fourth line becomes D, and the fifth line becomes F. Then on the spaces, I'm sure you've heard of this word, face. The first space is F, the second space is A, the third space is C, and the fourth space is C, and that gives you the word face. So that is how you tackle the treble clef. The second clef is the bass clef, also called the F clef. So if you have the staff again, 5 lines and 4 spaces, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to go to the fourth line and make my dot, and I make this my coily shape. Then I'll put 2 dots there. Automatically that turns the line, the first line, always starts counting or always start naming your lines from the bottom. The first line becomes G, the second line becomes B, the third line becomes D, the fourth line becomes F, and the fifth line becomes A. Good. Then the spaces becomes A, which is the first space, the second space becomes C, the third space becomes E, and the fifth space becomes G. So there are a lot of mnemonics you are going to learn. Mnemonics are like words you can use to remember. The next type of clef is the tenor clef, which is also called the C clef. So the shape is different from the treble and bass clef that you know. For some of you, this is your first time seeing this clef. So how does this work? So when we have the staff again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when we bring this tenor clef in it, you are going to focus on the tenor clef look like a B. Okay, so you are going to focus at the middle of that B. So the middle of that B is what tells you where the middle C is. Okay, so if you lift it up above the line here, it is called tenor clef. Then if it's down at the middle here and the middle C is here, it is called alto clef. So sometimes we also call this movable clef because its move it depends on where it is positioned that determines if it is tenor clef or alto clef. So once you've decided, let's say for example we are looking at alto clef. Let's say the B, we'll put it at the middle. Okay, that is where the middle C is. Then you start labeling your lines from the middle C, which is C. So the first space here will be what? D. The first line after the positioning will be E. Then the third space will be F, and so on like that. Then so if you are going backward from the middle C, which is here, the first space down will be what? B. The first line down will be A. That's how you do it accordingly. So it is where the middle C is positioned that determines when you start labeling the lines. The next type of clef is the octave, a treble clef with 8, either at the top or below, depending on where it is positioned. If it's positioned at the top of the treble clef, it's going to tell you that you are playing octave higher. If it's positioned down, you are going to be playing octave lower. The next type of clef is the neutral clef. It's for percussion instruments. So this is how it looks like. You are going to see like this. So if you are a drummer, this is what you likely see on your own book. Okay, so it's for pitchless instruments. So this is how you notate them on the staff also. Sometimes you might even see a single line. So that just tells you a particular rhythm you need to play. And the last one is tabulature, used for guitar. So the lines and strings number are shown on the fret. So this is how it looks like. For some of you, you might have come across it. You can see it here. So it's called guitar tab. You are going to see the numbers of the strings and the frets on the charts which you are going to be given. So for if you give this to all this is what I'm going to explain further in my class. If you show this to a guitar player, you already understand what to do. There are only two symbols for musical pauses. A breath mark, which tells a singer to breathe, wind player to take in air, or string player to lift the bow. It can also mean leaving a slightly space in music. And the next one is the caesura, which means a pause where time is not counted. Most time it's called a dramatic stop. So you might have seen sign like this in your score. It looks like this, like a dash bends to the other side. So that's the caesura, means a stop, but time is not counted. So just in you will see it in symphony pieces and all that. Since you are still here is a quick exercise for you. Pause the video and try it, okay? And today we've covered the music alphabet and pitch names, accidentals and enharmonics, the D major scale, the staff, the clef, the reading tips, and even breath marks. If you find this helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, give thumbs up, and if you have any question, you can put it out in the comment section. I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.